Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Slices of Seattle, the short form version of the Slice of Seattle podcast. I'm recording this episode at 11:30 p.m. on October 10th. And if you're wondering why I'm making an episode this late at night, I will tell you why. Because the Mariners are going to the ALCS. They beat the Tigers, Game 5, 3-2 in the 15th inning. That game gave me a heart attack every single inning. It was just brutal. And don't get me wrong, I am incredibly excited that the Mariners won that game, win the series. You're going to go play against Toronto. But I do not lie when I say that game tonight was, without a doubt, unequivocally, irrefutably, the worst postseason game, if not maybe the worst baseball game I've ever seen in my entire life. That was bad. That was horrendous. Yeah, that's two teams who are throwing you're at the bottom of the pitchers that you have. And I say that, and it was George Kirby versus Tarek Skubal to start out the game. But they're tired. They've already pitched 2-3 days ago or whatever it was. So and they didn't even pitch that long. You go to your reserves, guys who have been stretched to their limits. And you couldn't get hits against them. You only were able to put up 3 runs. Barely win that game. That was brutal. That was awful. And again, don't get me wrong. I have great vibes right now. We just won. I mean, Mariners wins are electric. We're going to go play for the ALCS. You're playing against Toronto, a familiar team who you've terrorized in the regular season year after year. But this game does not show us good signs for moving on in the playoffs. If you were to ask me, this ALCS is going to be a struggle, a real big struggle. Why? Because the Blue Jays are looking scary, like really scary, unequivocally scary. Vlad in the playoffs is going to give us a hard time. I 1,000% believe that. It's going to be hard to pitch around him. It's going to be hard to keep up with this Blue Jays team that beat the Yankees in 4. And then don't get me wrong, the Yankees aren't that good this year. They barely made the postseason and almost lost to the Red Sox in the wild card. But still, they are the Yankees. They're still a good team, and the Blue Jays were able to knock them out in 4. And it took them 4 games to be able to do it. They weren't able to just sweep them. But still, that game, and also this whole series against the Tigers as a whole, does not give me a lot of good vibes necessarily going into that Toronto game. Love that we won this game. Great, win the series, perfect. But there were a lot of games, aside from the one where we put up like 8 runs. A lot of those games, we should have put up more runs. Get more hits, get more clutch hits. And that's the number one thing, is clutch hits. Hitting when we have runners in scoring position, when we get runners on, and not striking out, not hitting to double plays. That happened so many times in this game. When you're in extras, you left so many runners on base because you grounded out into double plays. And at least I know Randy did that. There was a ground ball right back to the pitcher, flips to second, too easy. You're just giving them outs. You're handing them the game at that point. We're able to get out of it. But the thing that sucks about this too, I was already thinking about it going into just the game, even if it just went 9 innings, was your bullpen's going to be incredibly taxed. You are throwing Kirby again in the series because you have to. Then you're going to have to lean on your bullpen and some of your starting pitching as well to close out that game. Why? Because you're already taxed. And now you're taxed even more. So we've played more games in the ALDS than Toronto did in their ALDS. We went extras in the 1+ game that we played in, having to throw Gilbert and Castillo in relief. So guys who were already taxed get taxed even more. So if you're asking me, do I have a lot of hope going into the ALCS? The answer is no, I don't. I do not think that this Mariners team has proven themselves at the postseason level. Yes, they're moving on. They won that series. Great. We are going to run into a brick wall. That is going to be Toronto. Mark my words. Lose game 1, lose game 2. I mean, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a tough series. And don't get me wrong, I love this team. I think this is one of the better teams we've put together in a long time. I don't think it's enough to beat the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are going to be moving on to the World Series. They're going to be a fun team to watch in the postseason. They already are. And not to say the Mariners aren't, we're still fun to watch, but at the end of the day, the Blue Jays may have our number in the postseason. If the Tigers could somehow force a Game 5 against us, and the Tigers are not that good of a team. They kind of catfished the whole league at the very start of the year by making people think that they were going to be a contender. They make it to the ALDS, but they've kind of just not been that impressive. And we made them look good. We made them look like a great baseball team when they're really not. So that's what we were doing against a kind of a subpar playoff baseball team. What do you think is going to happen when we play against a good playoff baseball team? That's my 2 cents about this upcoming series. I'm incredibly nervous. I'm scared. I don't want any of the smoke, to be perfectly honest with you. But who knows? It's playoff baseball. A lot of stuff can go wrong. A lot of stuff can go in our favor. So you're just going to have to see. But yeah, that's it for Mariners baseball, man. I'm looking forward to this Toronto series. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be. I still want to watch it. It's gonna be fun to watch. But yeah, that's gonna do it for baseball. I needed to make this episode. I have been out of the studio for a while. I just need to talk some Mariners baseball. Just get it off my chest. The other thing I want to talk about, the Kraken. Before we close out, it's a really quick episode, guys. Before we close out this episode, we gotta talk about the Kraken. Season opener, first win of the season, first win for Lane Lambert, 3-1 against the Ducks. Is there much to take away from this game? No, really there isn't. You're playing against the Ducks. And the Ducks, at the end of the day, are still the Ducks. Not a good hockey team. Horrible hockey team. I say that. The Ducks have always kind of had our number in the regular season past couple years. I always say this. I'm like, man, they're the Ducks. We don't have to worry about them. And then somehow they find a way to beat us repeatedly, which is brutal. And it's why we didn't make playoffs last year and the year before that as well, because you lose games to the Ducks. And the San Jose Sharks is another example. Conference opponents who for some reason are really bad, but somehow have your number. And it makes zero sense. But I will say, not being able to take too much from that game, the thing I do take away from that is offense is looking strong. Our ability to get in, score goals, set up guys, we're looking smooth. Matty Beniers fed Jared McCann on just an absolutely beautiful goal where he just posted up out in front, got the pass, and just kind of just flicked it up into the top of the net. Beautiful. Absolute cinema. I love it. Vince Dunn, just a heavy shot from the blue line, just buries it, top corner. Vince Dunn doing what he does best, scoring from the blue line. That's what he does every single time. And then Mason Marchment getting his first goal as a Kraken. Electric. Super fun game to watch. I loved it. It was great. Sat and watched it at home. At the start of the season, good vibes, right? Great vibes coming out of the Kraken. Am I going to overanalyze that too much? No. The one critique I'm going to have from that game that has me like down in the dumps is defense. Joey Decord had to have a legacy game to make sure that we won that game 3-1, right? We only went and let in one goal. There was like 30-plus shots on goal from the Ducks. The Ducks are awful. They're not that good. They're bad. Our defense made them kind of look a little good. They were able to break into the zone a lot. They had a lot of shots on goal. They had a lot of opportunities. And Joey had to kind of be a brick wall. Don't get me wrong. Joey's a great goalie, but he's only as good as the other 5 guys on the ice around him. They have to provide a backbone to kind of support him a little bit. If we don't have that, we're going to lose a lot of hockey games. And if you're, only winning 3-1 against the Ducks, granted, that's not necessarily a blowout in hockey, but it's a pretty good win. You win by 2 goals. That's a comfortable win. Still, I'm a little greedy. I want some more if you're playing against the Ducks. But what I want to share with you guys quick before I close out this episode is I wrote an article for the Daily Evergreen talking about the preseason for the Kraken. Who are my top 10 most intriguing Kraken? I want to share them with you guys. Talk through the 10 names who I think are going to be not necessarily standouts, but are maybe going to make the most difference this year for the Kraken. So to start it off, at number 10, I got Freddie Gaudreau. And you're probably thinking, Smith, you are smoking crack if you have Freddie Gaudreau in your top 10 most intriguing Kraken. And I know, he is not the sexiest player, right? If you put him into last year's team, he ranks like number 7 for goals, number 12 for assists, and number 10 for points. Not great. He played all 82 games last year. He still didn't produce that much. And in the preseason, he didn't put up that crazy of stats either. But, when I was watching the preseason, I was pretty impressed with His skating, his passing, his fluidity, everything. His chemistry looked great. This is one of those things where it's like, yeah, he's not popping off the stat sheet. Don't get me wrong. But I have a pretty good feeling that he could be a difference maker on at least, I don't know, third, fourth line. Just kind of add some depth, right? So that's why I have him at number 10, right? I'm not putting him at number like 8 or 7 or something like that. But I think he could be a name you hear quite a bit this year, potentially. Number 9, I'm going with Joey Decord. Signed a 5-year deal with the Kraken last year for like, I want to say like $20 million, that kind of puts McDavid's like 2-year, $12 million deal in perspective, where I feel like McDavid's deal was kind of a team deal. That's not to say that I don't think that Decord's wasn't a team deal, but I don't know, like $20 million or something like that for 5 years. Last year was not necessarily the best year for him. It wasn't bad by any means. It just wasn't standout or anything like that. It's hard to make it, the year before that when he had a shutout in the Winter Classic. That's like the peak memory I have of Joey Decord, right? Puts up a .906 save percentage last year, 151 goals, 2.75 goals allowed on average. Not awesome, but at the end of the day, the thing you have to keep in mind with that, to like grain of salt it, our defense last year was bad. It was horrendous, and they were also bad in this opening game against the Anaheim Ducks as well. Our defense was bad. We left Decord out to dry so many times all throughout the season where it was like brutal. I felt bad for him. It was terrible, right? Do I think the defense is going to step up a little bit this year? Maybe. You've added Ryan Lindgren. Not necessarily the best defensive player. I mean, he's still a defenseman. Right? I think Riker Evans, yes, he's hurt. I know, and he is on this list, so we're going to get to that in a second. He's going to blossom into maybe a better defensive player, so he has potential to maybe help out Decord a little bit. And then Vince Dunn, Brandon Montour. The defense there has good names on it, but just we need to put it together and be able to give some support to Decord where it matters. At number 8, I got the former Dallas Star, Mason Marchment. And this pick makes me look pretty good right now because he got his first goal as a Kraken in the Anaheim Ducks game. So thank you, Marchment. I really appreciate that. Look, is he a star? Is he a superstar in the NHL? No. Look at last year, he only put up 47 points. He was 143rd overall in the league for points, 122nd overall for goals, and 193rd overall for assists. That's abysmal. That's forgotten. Beyond being mid. That is somewhere floating in the ether of the NHL, right? But what's even sadder is if you take him and his stats and you pop him into last year's Kraken stat sheet, he is number 4 for points, number 5 for assists, and number 4 for goals. That is how bad the Kraken were last year. Is that this guy who's, again, middle of the pack, not to be mean, but almost a nobody in the NHL, is that kind of top 5 player on the Kraken, essentially. Do I think he's going to revive his career and he's going to have an amazing year with the Kraken? Not necessarily. That's why I have him at 8 on this list. But I think he'll be a solid, maybe second, third liner. Again, similar to Freddie Gaudreau, he's adding depth. He's adding that depth where he's going to feed guys a lot. He's going to climb the assist column. He's going to keep feeding those second, third liners and just maybe not score a whole bunch. I know I say that, but he did get a goal in that Anaheim game. Maybe not score a whole bunch, but at the very least, just rack up some assists, help us get on the score sheet every other game. That's all I ask out of Mason Marchment. Coming in at number 7, I got Ryan Lindgren. Kind of the second biggest name that we picked up in the offseason. Marchment arguably being the number 1, but he's number 2. Look, Ryan Lindgren on paper does not look that great. He's a career high of 19 points, 17 assists, 3 goals. That's not good. That's kind of brutal. Those are not career highs you want to expect to have, a superstar. He's not a superstar, right? Had a long stretch with the New York Rangers where he was pretty below average. Short tenure with the Colorado Avalanche, and then we pick him up. Looking at this, it reminds me a little bit of Capo Caco, right? Because Ryan Lindgren was also a bit of a high draft pick. I believe he was taken in the second round. Bit of a high draft pick. Didn't quite pan out. Definitely didn't quite pan out, right? Do I think it's going to be a Capo Caco situation where we kind of revive his career a little bit? I don't know about that. I don't think so. Do I think he's going to, transform into a standout player? Not necessarily. But I think he might help with the defense, provide that veteran experience, build a defense that can help out Joey Daccord a little bit. That's all I ask for out of Lindgren. That's why I have him at number 7. I think he could be a difference maker on the ice this year, potentially. That's all I have for him. Number 6, I'm going with Jaden Schwartz. I love Jaden Schwartz. He was arguably my favorite Kraken to watch last year. First half was kind of for him. Second half, he turned on the Jets. He turned into a completely different player in the second half. Led the team in goals, I believe. Yes, led the team in goals at 26. Recorded 23 assists. Ended the year with 49 points. Again, 49 points is not great. Not great at all. Not nearly enough assists. Do I think he's going to have a similar season this year that he had last year? I don't know. I don't quite think so. He's probably going to take a step back this year is what I predict. But if we even get some semblance of what he was able to do last year in any kind of form, I think Jaden Schwartz could be a difference maker out on the ice. Could be a solid forward for us. Just maybe there's a goal race between him and some of the younger guys on this team, but as a veteran, I kind of need him to step up, push the younger guys, have that kind of competition like that. I think Jaden Schwartz could be a difference maker on this team, without a doubt. Number 5, we prefaced him a little bit ago. Yes, I know he's injured. He's not going to be playing for a few weeks. Ryker Evans. He is a name that I think has flown under the radar for quite a while. Last year, he started to get a little bit more attention. People started to pay attention to him a little bit more. I definitely paid attention to him a little bit more. Not, the best point season. He only had 25 points last year. But he did have 20 assists. So only 5 goals, 20 assists. I like that 20 assists. Pretty lopsided. He's a defenseman. Again, he's not supposed to score that much. He's a defenseman. But the assists is where it's like, hey, obviously he's doing something right to be able to feed these guys. And I think he's young. He's still got a lot more time left in the NHL. I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with Evans. I think he's going to definitely start to rack up some more assists, get more and more points on the year, be a difference maker. The other thing I love about him, too, is he's super physical. He lays hits. He is a dog on the ice on defense. Great defensive presence. And I love that. That's what we need. We need more of that on the Kraken. And that's why I put him at number 5. He is so... His style of play is what the Kraken lack, and it's what we need in this year. So if he can do more of that and build a core around that, I'm all for it. I have him at number 5 for that reason. Number 4, we're going with arguably my favorite Kraken, maybe of all time. I say that, we've only been around for like 5 years, but my favorite Kraken of all time, Vince Dunn. He is so important to this team. I don't even know how to explain that to you, how important Vince Dunn is to this team. He was injured last year, similar to how Capo Caco and Ryker Evans are injured right now, out for the first couple weeks of the season. We were abysmal in the very start of the season last year. Bad, horrible, not great. Why? Because we didn't have Vince Dunn. And the game that he got back, I think he put up 2 goals in the game he got back, got right back to work, making up for the lost time. When he's on the ice, he makes everyone around him better. He's a defenseman who can get those assists, and he can score from the blue line. He's a scoring defenseman. I love scoring defensemen, so I love Brandon Montour as well. He's also the kind that's in the same boat as Dunn. Both of them are kind of those scoring defensemen, and I love that. That is super, super fun to watch. So if you're asking me to sum up Vince Dunn in 2 words, difference maker. That's what he is, and that's why he's at number 4. Every single year, day in, day out, he gets the job done. Hard-nosed hockey. I love it. Number 3, we're going with Shane Wright. I know a lot of people might clown me for that, saying that Shane Wright's the 3rd most intriguing Kraken. I know he hasn't quite panned out the way people had hoped. Same thing for Matty Beniers. And I'm the biggest Matty Beniers and Shane Wright critic, where I think that they have not done the job that they were expected to be. First-round draft picks who have not gotten it done, right? But if last year's any indicator, I think Shane Wright is going to take a huge step up this year, right? Last year, first half of the season, not even first half, I'd say first quarter of the season was bad. He was awful. Couldn't score a goal. Just a drought. The drought of all droughts, right? Was just not scoring, was not getting it done. And he was a healthy scratch. And I remember that, clocking in my head, he was a healthy scratch. You know how important that was? And then after that, he gets back in the next game, went on to put up 44 points, 25 assists, 19 goals. Again, not crazy impressive, but his ability to take that moment of being a healthy scratch, to reflect on that, to grow, to use that as motivation to get better and not let it crush him, shows me that he's potentially going to have a pretty good year in 2025, 2026, right? And every single time we called him up from the AHL, every single time we've done that, he's gotten a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, culminating in last year, what we saw last year from him. Do I think he's going to stay on that trajectory? I don't know. But if he does, if he stays on that trajectory, I have no doubt in my mind that he should be number 3 on this list, because he can totally be superstar adjacent when he's on. And I think he will be on this year for the Kraken. At number 2, again, I know that he's injured and he's going to be out for a few weeks, and I'll touch on that. But number 2 on this list, I have Kaapo Kakko. Look, 6 subpar years with the New York Rangers. I think a lot of people, I definitely also thought too, watching the Rangers, being a former Rangers fan, I thought he was a bust. I did not think he was that good. That wasn't panning out. Was I think the 2nd overall pick in the 2019 draft. Just was not playing up to the potential that he had, right? And that's why they traded him. After their President's Trophy season, they were wholesale dumping the team. They got rid of Trouba and some other names as well. He was one of the names they got rid of. We traded Will Borgen for him. As soon as he got here last year, difference maker. Just like Vince Dunn. Difference maker. He can rack up assists like anybody. And the chemistry he had getting in here, getting on that second, maybe sometimes first line, his ability to feed guys, to give them assists, set them up for those goals was amazing. I remember going to a Kraken game. I believe we were playing the Utah, now they're the Mammoths, then they were the Utah Hockey Club or whatever. And he had like a legacy game, just constantly feeding. It was him and Jaden Schwartz on the same line together. They were electric. His chemistry with him was just absolutely amazing. He stood out as soon as he got here. He made a name for himself. He's the closest thing to a superstar that we have. Matty Beniers isn't a superstar. Shane Wright isn't a superstar. But Kaapo Kakko, I think if you were to ask me who the superstar of this team is, it would be Kaapo Kakko at the very least, right? Not the youngest guy, right? His rookie years are behind him, and he's starting to become a veteran. He's kind of in that transition phase. But I think that, again, same thing with how I mentioned Vince Dunn when he was out for the first half of last year. We struggled. It's going to be the same thing this year with Kaapo Kakko. He's out for the first stretch of the season. We are going to struggle. We kind of already saw that with that Ducks game. I know we won. But we struggled a little bit. We are going to struggle, I think, in the first half of this season because we don't have Kaapo Kakko on that roster. Yes, he's injured. But as soon as he comes back, I guarantee you we are going to take huge strides because he's back on the roster. And that is why I have him at number 2, for that reason right there. But to cap it all off, at number 1, I'm going, without a doubt, I have to go with Yanni Niemann. Why? Let me tell you why. When we gave him a late call-up last year, our power play was god-awful. It was one of the worst in the entire NHL. If we got the power play, basically was guaranteed we weren't going to score. It wasn't going to happen. It was just impossible. Called up Yanni Niemann, late in the year, gets on this team. We put him on the power play unit. His NHL debut, he scores a power play goal. Does his job, plays his role, does what we need him to do. And let me tell you, watching that game, seeing him get that first goal, I knew without a doubt that he was going to be a difference maker. Difference maker. He's got talent. He's a rookie. And actually, I retract my prior statement. If you were to ask me who the superstar of this Kraken team is, it is Yanni Niemann. Because he is fun to watch. He's got chemistry on this team with some of the other Finnish players on the team, which is Eli Tolvanen and Kaapo Kakko as well. You can tell he really fits in with this team. He made the opening day roster this year for a reason. There's a reason why he's here. He's a talent, an incredible talent. I think we have him right now on the 3rd or 4th line, which is fine. He adds depth to this team, which is perfect. I don't know if we have him on the power play unit at all this year. I would want him on the power play unit because that just seems to be his strong suit. He can get on this, he can just get on the power play unit, get some power play goals, and help us out with the man advantage. That's what we need. And if you ask me, I have no doubt in my mind that this year is going to be Yanni Neiman and Shane Wright fighting for the point lead on this team. I know Jared McCann has been our points leader every single year, but I think this could be the year that Yanni Neiman or Shane Wright leapfrog him in that department. And it'll be a race to see who's going to be the point leader by the end of the year. Do I think we make playoffs? I don't know. But I do know that these 10 names are going to be difference makers this year. And I'm all here for it. I'm super, super excited. But that's all I'm going to talk about for the Kraken. Those are my top 10 most intriguing Kraken going into this year. But that's going to do it for this episode. Mariners, I am absolutely pumped. I'm so excited for this ALCS. Even though in my heart of hearts, I don't think we're going to win it. I think we're going to get kind of punched in the mouth by the Blue Jays a little bit. But I'm still going to watch it. Why? Because it's Mariners playoff baseball. And the Mariners in the playoffs is something you don't see once. You only see it once in a blue moon, right? Once every 24 years, apparently. So I'm going to cherish it while it's here. My folks are going to be out in Pullman staying with me, which is going to be awesome. We're going to sit down and watch some baseball together, which is so nice. It's so good to sit and just watch baseball with the family. It's great. I'm also looking forward to Kraken hockey this year. Seahawks, I'll do probably some coverage about them later and some later episodes as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of Slices of Seattle. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube, share this everywhere you possibly can. I appreciate everybody for supporting. Again, listen to Slices of Seattle. Thank you guys so much. Remember, it's a great day to have a great day. And go Cougs.